let's do the hair now. That's when I'm like, I don't know what to do with the face. I don't know how to make this look better. Let's do the hair. Let's just go on to the next step. And that's the whole process of this drawing was, don't like how this is going. Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be trying to draw myself in the style of the Spider-Verse. First off the bat, I'm not a big renderer when it comes to my art, making digital art. So this was already before I even started. I knew this was going to be a challenge for me. And not only that, but I also have never tried to copy this sort of style before. So, I did the best I could, and I'll let you judge the end results. But it wasn't easy. So I started off with just a selfie to kind of get a good sketch of my face, and then as I was sketching I changed some of the proportions a little so that they were just already a bit more cartoony. I use a reference of Gwen just so that I could see like how far to push the cartooniness without making it like too Disney or style that it wasn't. This was a really fun challenge. It was definitely a challenge, and it definitely taught me like some of my own limitations and really highlighted some of the stuff that I clearly need to go and do more long form studies on. But that's by the by. But I would highly recommend taking on one of these sorts of drawing challenges, even if you think I've never drawn like that looks really difficult, I don't think I'd be able to make it good. Same. But do it anyway, because it actually was really informative about, what I could do, what I couldn't do. So, yeah, sketching away. It's always weird looking at your face for so long. And I haven't really done a proper portrait of myself in a long time. So it was fun, but it was also like trying to make sure I was copying the photo instead of just going off how I remember drawing myself in the past. And I don't think I really quite caught my likeness with this, but like I said, the whole thing was a bit of a learning experience, which I really liked. So I'm not going to beat myself up too much about the fact that it's like pretty hit or miss whether you think it looks like me, personally. I always find that I draw my faces like a little wonky, so that's why I do really enjoy drawing digitally, because you can just easily move the features around or fix little wonkiness up. I also, something I've seen a lot of artists do that I haven't really made as a part of my practice is flipping the canvas and just making sure that things aren't going weird or wonky as you see it from a different perspective. I didn't do that at all in this picture, and at the end of the whole process I was, because I'm looking at it for so long, drawing it and trying to work out what's wrong, and I looked at it and I was like, no, I'm not going to flip it, because as soon as I flip it, it's going to look so wonky and so bad. And by this point, I put hours into it, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to kill myself like that. I'm going to keep it as it's okay. And I know if I flipped the canvas and saw all the mistakes, there's no way I would post it. And, it shouldn't be that you only post your best stuff. The whole thing is we're all kind of learning and experimenting. And if you only post the stuff you're super proud of, awesome. But, it doesn't really put you in good practice of just, putting stuff out there and trying stuff, because it builds up this feeling of if it's bad, people will think that that's always how I draw and always how I will draw. And I'm not good at, other aspects of it or anything. And I'm speaking from my own thought process, so maybe it is just me that thinks like that. But I'm trying to get better at just posting stuff and just putting it out there. The last piece you do doesn't define what kind of artist you are, is what I'm coming to trying to come to a realization on. So after I finished sketching it, I went over with, I think it was just like the technical preset pen, inking pen. I know that people say that the preset pens in Procreate are pretty garbage, and they are. Like, I can see how pixely the lines are, and I'm not even that zoomed in. But for something like this, I'm not too fussed, because I know it's not going to be, you know, this amazing piece that I'll want to make prints of and all that sort of thing. In saying that though, I am on the lookout for a good pen set in Procreate, whether to buy or a free one. So if any of you guys have any pen sets that you've purchased or got and you really rate them, please let me know, because I really feel like at this point I could do with putting a little more money into what I'm doing to just get that much better and crisper result. Faces are a tricky one, like kind of realistic faces, because I don't really enjoy drawing them, and so then I never practice them, and then therefore I think that I'm not good at them, and then I never draw them, and the cycle continues. I find lips really difficult. I find they're easy if it's just like a shading kind of style, or like when it's very minimalist and just gives like the impression of like the top of the lip or the little bottom part, or like darken the corners in the middle. That sort of thing I love. I can do that. That's fun, and it usually looks really cute. But like actually outlining the whole lips, I don't know why, it cringes me out. I can't look at my own drawings. Okay, so then I started shading. I'll link the TikTok that I came across. Leave a gap for voiceover, because I'm using my phone, so I can't look up his name.
Artwood.
Does a really good series of like draw these different styles and how to draw them, and he kind of breaks them down. So as well as looking at references from the actual Spider-Verse movie, I was also slightly copying his steps of like coloring and breakdown of the shading and the forms, because like I said, I've never ever even attempted to draw or paint like this before. So going off just eyeballing, I knew that I would just be miles off, because I just am not aware of the techniques that he used. So this guy really broke it down really nicely about what he uses blur pencils for, or what he uses the lasso tool for, and then shades and colors, and then it gives like strong defined lines and more blurred lines, and all those are really important aspects in this style. So that was really interesting, because I can't say I ever really shade, especially like mid-tones and features, with the lasso tool. So I actually really enjoyed that, and this is what I'm saying, like trying stuff like this teaches you different techniques and different little tips that you may not have come across before. And this whole lasso. Oh my gosh. Anyway, this little tool is definitely one that I've picked up from doing this, and I actually really enjoy using it for shading. I think it's really dynamic and has a really cool look, even though I don't love how mine turned out, but I do appreciate the tips and the skill of using that tool to highlight and shadow and do mid-tones. I really liked firstly, what a great movie. Realized I hadn't even really talked about it. I went to the cinema to see this a I went to the cinema to see this probably 2-3 weeks ago, and I loved the first one, so I knew I was going to like this one. But in saying that, I'm not a big superhero movie gal. Marvel, DC, like some of the movies I like, some I can appreciate, but on the whole, I never go out of my way to watch them, and I'm not really that interested in it. So in saying that, I knew that I enjoyed the first one of the Spider-Verse movies. So I thought just from a purely artistic side of things, I would enjoy this one. But loved it. So good. So good. I really enjoyed it. The time flew by, which is saying a lot because my attention span these days is so short that if I can watch a movie and be engaged the whole time, you've done a fantastic job. And I was. So yeah, really, really great job to the team. Kudos. Another thing that I found really interesting that I had not really used before is this 2 ring lights hitting the faces. I think it looks really cool and really dynamic, but I'd never done that before in my own drawings. So I really enjoy doing it because it just makes it pop. And in watching this back, I actually kind of wish I just stopped at this stage because I know it's not a finished look, but I really think that at this stage it looks pretty decent. I think where I went wrong, I got too detailed, I got too micro, and I should have stayed more hints and like, I wanted to say illusion, that's not the word. I need to stay more like hints and suggestive lines for like shadowing and features. But because the style is not something I've done before, and it's both like very stylized and simplistic, but also has a lot of detail in its own way, the detail caught me up and I got too into the detail. So, you know, it's okay. And to be fair, when I go away from it and then I come back like the next day or something, I can appreciate that it looks better than I remember leaving it looking. So it's not all bad. But don't you hate that when you like, you know it's wrong and you know it's not how it could be or should be, but you don't know how to fix it? And it's not so much even like that your skill level's not there. You just don't, well, I guess it is skill level. You just don't understand the technique properly to be able to really deliver on it. And so I feel like I could do better if I were to do this again. This was my first run at this and it's fine, but I don't know. I'm trying to get better at being relaxed about my finished product and not being so caught up in it doesn't look as good as I imagined it, so it's bad. Like, that's just not true. I'm gonna relax. Doing the shading around the nose was difficult. I won't lie. It wasn't super intuitive and that I thought it was going to be, because I understand like the shapes of the nose and how light hits and shadows fall, but even still I couldn't, I don't know, something about it, I just couldn't do it. So that screams to me that I need to do more studies and definitely more like shading and lighting studies. Because this shouldn't, for as long as I've been drawing, this shouldn't still be such a like instant roadblock for me. I'm just kind of watching it now because It is interesting to watch yourself draw. And you forget when you do like, you clip your best bits, or like you shorten down the video. You forget how often you make a line, have to undo the line, make the exact same line, undo the line. Like, it is quite tedious to watch. So apologies, and also thank you if you've watched this far. So this is where I started getting just a little, maybe potentially a little too caught up in like the small details, and I should have still been focusing and reworking like the big block forms, but I don't, and I don't go back to it really. Okay, so I put the lighting on instantly on the wrong side for the highlight of the eyes. I will come back and fix that, I promise. So please bear with that, because it's such an obvious, like, why would the lighting be on that side of the pupil when there's so clearly such a strong light coming from the side of the face? Gah. Foolish. And I keep zooming out to see like how it reads from afar, and it never reads well. The whole video, I never zoom out and go, oh, cool, yeah, I can clearly see what's happening here. It's too many details, there's too many little things. Put some highlights in, that'll save it. And that's the thing, it gets to like a little highlight here, a little ring light hair, a little shadow hair, and so then it kind of just clutters the whole face instead of leaving it more graphic, like more designy. I don't know what I'm doing. I think if I started again, and instead of worrying about the details as I went, I would do the base color, and I would block in how the shapes are formed, and then I would erase from that where the highlights would go, and then build the detail on there. I think the fact that I'd already like made colored the eyes and put a highlight on the side of the nose before I'd even really finished shaping the nose, I think that that's probably where a lot of the downfall comes from, because then I don't want to go back and erase the highlights, but they're distracting my eye from how to fix the shadows. So, you learn and you live and you learn. Alright, let's pause there. I started getting really concerned for my cell phone because it was heating up like a little oven. So I hit pause and then decided to break the video into two. So anyway, back at it. Here we go. Thank you for watching. Back to the lips. Struggle City. Yeah. Like, see, as I'm watching it, like, why would the shadow be on that side? These are the things, like, unless you actually do this sort of work and practice, it's hard to, in the moment, to think about it properly, instead of just getting, like, overexcited about chucking in, like, strong shadows and lights everywhere. But then watching this back, like, I don't think I could still get it to the point that I'd be happy with it, but I can see what feels like very obvious mistakes that I could have cleaned up and potentially preferred the outcome more. I'm not, in fact, having a bizarre disco stroke. The neighbour's car drove past super loud music playing. Nice. I thought it would pick up in this recording. It didn't, so we're left with that. I think I think I keep messing with it, and then I think I don't like how the air turned out in the head. That's my problem. Like, stop touching it up, move on, come back to it later. Like, what is any of those shapes even doing? Okay. I mean, I don't know. This is actually very entertaining to watch back. Because I want to like tell my past self, chill, slow down, maybe do a little, draw a ball, do the lighting and shading on a ball, like make sure you understand what you're doing, like properly understand it so that you can put that onto the face instead of just completely winging every single highlight and shadow. Oh yeah, let's do the hair now. That's when I'm like, I don't know what to do with the face. I don't know how to make this look better. Let's do the hair. Let's just go on to the next step. And that's the whole process of this drawing was, don't like how this is going. Just do the next step. Maybe that'll fix it. And it doesn't because the issues have not been addressed. Oh well. I will say again, like I love using this tool. I think it's so much fun. It makes such a strong line as well, like a strong shape. You can get a really skinny point where like the shadow disappears into the hair or whatever. It's very satisfying. Maybe as well, like I should have put the hair up or made it like more extreme. I think the silhouette doesn't really do much for the piece. It's not like there's no strong style there. Like I should have made the hair way buffier, or maybe have put it up in a ponytail and then it could have like had a big like pineapple ponytail hair, but just kind of small and down. Could have been more graphic. Could have been more cartoony. Because that is another thing that I want to get better at, is like the silhouettes of my characters or my drawings. A lot of the time it doesn't have like this cool shape or like outline. All the details kind of get lost within itself. And I'd like to be better at, having a character that reads really well from afar, because it's just like such a strong shape. It's not confusing, doesn't get all muddled. I think that'd be fun. That's what I need to do more of, actually. Note that down. What are you drawing? What are you guys drawing at the moment? What are you into? Oh, I do want to know. Like, that sounds jokey, but I genuinely am so curious what other people are up to with their art and like what they find inspiring, and where does everyone get their cool references from? Like, I'll go on Instagram or on YouTube and watch artists draw, and they'll bust out the coolest pieces. And it's like, is that all purely just like off the top of the dome, or do you have different references that you've, compiled into your own picture? And if so, where are you getting them from? Where are you guys getting your references from? Pinterest is great, but I feel like, especially with photos of actual humans, like not cartoons, but like actual photos, it's excuse me, it's the same friggin' people all the time. I want like unusual looking people or like striking looking people to copy. I don't find it very inspiring, like I don't find it very inspiring, just the like generic, like beautiful, flawless face. That doesn't do anything for me. I want someone who I'm like, oh god, I want to draw you. You look so cool. That's the type of face I'm looking for. Anyway, where are we up to? What are we doing? Oh, we're darkening the eyebrows because they definitely were getting lost. And that was another thing. As I was coloring, I was trying to erase bits of the outline that I had made, so that it wasn't just completely like line art and colored. I wanted the shadows and texture to fill in a lot of that information instead of the lines, because that's the style, you know. I'm trying to copy the style. The references that I was looking at didn't have a lot of like the comic booky kind of texture, but a couple of other people who had drawn like Spider-Verse characters or drawn themselves in the Spider-Verse used it, and it did give it like a nice look. And I was hoping that doing that would kind of save mine a little, like just kind of wash over some of those weird bits a bit. Still haven't changed the lights on the eyes. This window is so bright and glary. I feel like I'm squinting at you guys. But if I pull the blind, then it's too dark. These are my issues. Okay. Well, see, now I've added, but I promise I switched the sides. Oh, and then I got I got Miles up on the screen as a reference, because this picture does have some of that texture. Not quite as like defined as the brush that I used, but enough that I felt like I was still within the realms of having it in the same style. And it was really interesting actually studying this picture, the way that there were several different lights within the like blue ring light source. Like it was kind of like transparent purpley blue, and then pinky, and then a bit more brighter pink in the middle of each highlight. And that was really cool. It gives a really cool look, so I'm trying to implement that as well. But do you see what I mean? Like when I'm zoomed far away, it just looks messy. And I think that's kind of the whole thing is this was fun to do, but the end result, messy. We're trying out here though. Okay, bit more shadow for the nose. It's probably needed because, as you may or may not be able to tell, I don't have a particularly small nose or a little button nose. So it's interesting that I've given myself a bit of one. Nice one. That's probably why it doesn't look like it. And then, yeah, I added like little white highlights on the nose, as well as like those really strong bits of where the light hits. But again, wrong side. Like, how am I getting this so wrong? That little slight mid-tone lighting that I did on the nose, like the center of the nose there, I feel like that did help a lot. But that might just be me. Oh yeah, I forget. Let's have the background as color so I can actually gauge a bit more how this looks instead of the white. Because the white background always throws me. Even if I'm just sketching on my iPad, like I usually turn the background a faded color of some sort. Hadassah! Dun, da, da, da. Spider-Verse. See, it's not... Okay, yeah, so I've switched a bunch of the highlights now. The eye highlights are now on the other side. The little ones on the nose actually match where the, like, brightest light source is coming from. I don't think I add too much more. But I think that definitely helped. Didn't save it, but it helped. Oh, yeah. I don't have it in it at the moment, but in my nose ring and my earrings... Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not the worst, but there's nothing particularly great about the final result. It's better zoomed in where you can see the detail. The further zoomed away it is, the more cluttered and messy it looks, and it doesn't really read very good. See, that looks like it could almost be in a panel in a comic book, but not the zoomed out version. Definitely not. If any of you guys have done this, whether on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, let me know. Send me to your page. I want to check it out. Anyway, here it is. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I am away in Paris next week, so I don't think there'll be a video. But I'll see you the week after. Have a good one. Bye.